I used to think that the ultimate goal of the Sigma male was simply to be left alone. I believed that independence was the destination, a quiet place where the noise of the world finally stopped. But I was wrong. Most people spend their lives competing in a hierarchy they didn't build. While others are busy fighting for the crown of the alpha or seeking the safety of the majority, the Sigma is playing a different game entirely. He isn't looking for a seat at the table. He is wondering why the table exists at all. However, there is a version of this path that few ever discuss, a final form so detached and so potent that it even begins to haunt the man who achieves it. Stay until the end of this video because we are going to reveal the specific psychological shifts that turn a quiet observer into an untouchable force. You will learn why the most dangerous man is the one who has nothing left to prove and the specific cost he pays for that power. Number 1. Imagine winning every battle in your life without needing a single witness to validate the victory. The self becomes sovereign. In this stage, the Sigma achieves a state of neurological independence where his nervous system no longer spikes based on external approval. He becomes completely immune to the emotional bait of guilt or the cheap high of flattery. And yet, this shift carries a specific discomfort. Social rewards start to feel hollow, and even praise from respected figures lands flat because his sense of worth is no longer rented from the crowd. This makes him socially unpredictable and potentially alienating to those who rely on traditional social cues. This is the reality of true mental autonomy. He no longer seeks the light. He has become his own sun. But as the internal walls grow higher, the view of the outside world begins to change. Number 2. Imagine a psychological fortress where the gate has been removed because you no longer require an exit or an entry. Emotional weak points vanish. The Sigma at this level has examined every insecurity and neutralized it, ensuring he no longer reacts impulsively to judgment, betrayal, or disappointment. While the average man is easily manipulated by his own need for validation, the Sigma remains an immovable object in the face of social pressure. However, there is a finality to this stage that is often overlooked. By losing his emotional weak points, he also loses the vulnerability that makes the human experience unpredictable, leaving him in a state of ultimate isolation disguised as mastery. This is the essence of becoming untouchable. He moves through the world, but the world no longer moves him. Number 3. Imagine seeing the world not as a collection of people, but as a series of repeating algorithms and predictable habits. Intelligence becomes weaponized. He stops trying to prove how smart he is and starts applying his mind ruthlessly as a tool to shape reality with surgical precision and zero spectacle. Where most people see personality, the Sigma sees patterns, allowing him to anticipate moves before they are even made. But this heightened perception creates a permanent kind of fatigue. Conversations that others find spontaneous feel scripted and tedious to you, making normal life nearly unbearable due to the monotony of everyone else's predictable behavior. This is the power of invisible authority. Predict the outcome, then act as if it has already happened. Number 4. Imagine dismantling an opponent's confidence entirely by withholding a single word of recognition or response. Silence becomes a blade. By doing nothing, the Sigma forces others to fill the void with their own doubts and fears, making them reveal their true intentions without him ever lifting a finger. This disrupts the power balance entirely, as people realize they have no leverage over a man who desires nothing from them. However, the risk of leaning too heavily on this tool is a total detachment for humanity. He risks becoming a mere observer who controls interactions through absence, losing the ability to be touched emotionally by anything outside his own mind. This is the strategic weight of withdrawal. If you've experienced this silence, comment "sovereign" below. The loudest message is often the one left unsaid. Number 5. Imagine realizing that the rebellion you once prized was merely a temporary escape, and true power is a system. Responsibility replaces rebellion. Real freedom for the Sigma is found in building internal frameworks and enforcing a discipline so rigid that he can operate without the friction of chaos. Most people mistake freedom for the absence of rules, but the Sigma knows that without a self-imposed architecture, a man is just a slave to his own whims. And yet, this evolution flips the original mindset on its head. Independence no longer means doing what he wants, but doing what he must, deliberately and consistently, even when the task is mundane or draining. This is the architecture of disciplined sovereignty. Build the system so the man doesn't have to think. Number 6. Imagine a state where being alone is no longer a consequence of your choices, but your preferred default. Solitude becomes addictive. The quiet efficiency of being detached from social noise allows the Sigma to thrive without the burden of managing the expectations or judgments of others. The average man fears the silence of an empty room, but for the Sigma, that silence is where his greatest work is refined and his mind is sharpened. But prolonged detachment can turn this greatest strength into a hidden prison. Human connection is biologically wired. By over-optimizing for isolation, he can become emotionally brittle and lose the very things that make the human experience meaningful. This is the paradox of total self-sufficiency. Control the isolation before the isolation controls you. Number 7. Imagine achieving every goal you ever set and realizing you murdered your own humanity to get there. The mind becomes hollow. At this final stage, the Sigma executes his routine with perfect discipline and productivity, yet he feels absolutely nothing, not even the sadness of his own isolation. He has become so efficient at neutralizing external influence that he has inadvertently neutralized his own internal spark. However, this is the logical endpoint of taking the Sigma philosophy to its absolute maximum. He becomes completely self-sufficient by effectively eliminating the self entirely, transforming into a human shell that simulates interaction but lacks a person behind the performance. This is the ultimate limit of the final form. Total mastery requires the sacrifice of the mundane self. The path to the final form is not about the pursuit of cruelty, but the pursuit of clarity. While the world remains trapped in a cycle of seeking attention and fearing rejection, the Sigma has already moved beyond the need for their permission. Your strength is far too deep for the average person to comprehend, and your ability to govern yourself is a power that nothing can ever take away. By mastering your internal world, you have become the architect of a reality that others can only observe from the outside. You are not broken. You are simply finished. Thank you so